talk then?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can talk. Hey everybody, welcome to our live TikTok here at 11:30. Well, it's a little past 11:30, getting a little bit late. But Mandy's in her shower tower doing some maintenance, and I'm going to be running the chat. So if you have questions or thoughts or comments, please put those in the chat, and we'll hang out. But as we're getting started here, this is a tower this is actually one of the first ones we did our R&D on, and we built this in a shower because we are in a 275 square foot studio apartment. So there wasn't a lot of room for experimentation, and especially early on when we were dealing with water, this was a really convenient place. So this is the origination of Isabel, where it first got started. We don't advise you to put one of these in your shower for obvious electricity reasons, but we needed a place to put it. Mandy, what are you doing right now?
I'm harvesting. This is lettuce leaf basil, and basically you can see that it's getting a little big over here, and so every once in a while we have to cut it down. That actually encourages growth, but then we want to eat it too. So I'm just cutting. I'm trying to get the largest, keep the largest stems I can, because I don't strictly have something we're going to use this for like right now.
Right, so why did you put this in water?
So if we put it in water, it'll last longer and even continue to grow out, like it might even grow some roots. Yeah, so I could just cut off one leaf at a time here, but you can get these down to even like basically nubbins, and they'll grow back.
Basically nubbins, that's right. We've stripped these down to like stems essentially, and they've come back. Someone asked, is there any soil, or is it completely hydroponic? This system is 100% hydroponic. In this reservoir right down here, there's 3 gallons of water, or that's the max volume it can contain. Then the water travels up this black pipe here to the top, where it splits off, and half of it goes down this tower, half of it goes down the other, trickles past the plant roots and delivers the nutrients to the plants in the pipes, and then goes back to the bucket and starts its journey all over again. The water runs for 15 minutes on, 15 minutes off. That gives the plant roots a bunch of oxygen. They actually need that oxygen so they can live. So somebody asked a question, are hydroponic plant roots always completely submerged in water? In some techniques they are, but in this technique, no. So the water, again, trickles down for 15 minutes, and then it's actually off for 15 minutes. That allows your plant roots to get oxygen around them. And everybody knows that plants need some nutrients to grow, but they also need that oxygen around their roots in order to be healthy. And so because they have contact with the right amount of nutrients and oxygen, they actually grow a little bit faster in hydroponics. If you have all your settings dialed in correctly, they can grow up to 25% faster. So it's a really great growing method. But no, they're not always submerged in water. And do we ever change it? Yes, absolutely. Would we say about every week, Mandy? 2 weeks?
How much do we change the water?
Yeah, I have a zillion ones, so my schedule is off.
Yeah. So like when you fill it up, it's about 3 gallons, and your plants will drink some of that water. So after about a week, you'll have to add some water. And then we recommend after 2 weeks, you change it completely. You scrub out the bucket and replace your nutrients. So every 2 weeks, we advise you to replace the nutrients.
Yes. And as your plants get bigger, they will also consume that water, as Mandy said. So if you look in your bucket after a week, the water level is going to be lower because it's in your plants and in the leaves now. Do we use fertilizers as well? Yes. There have to be nutrients dissolved into the water, otherwise the plants wouldn't live. We also have to adjust the pH of the water to bring it down just a little bit. Our tap water is around, what, 7, and hydroponic plants like it between 5.5 and 6.5. The reason for that is, well, that's what rainwater is. And plants need that a little bit of acidity to help them actually absorb the nutrients that are dissolved into the water. Wait, is this your whole house? Yeah, this is part of it. There's not much else to it. If you saw our other video, Mandy's got one studio apartment up here, and I've got an apartment in a different part of the building. But yeah, this is it. Someone said that their partner and them just started doing hydroponics in their apartment too. It's so much fun to wake up and see all of these things, and I love too how much they change every day. Someone said the air in your house must be refreshing. I think it is, but one thing I have to say is that a lot of the studies about air purifying plants all relate back to a single NASA study where they put a bunch of plants in a room and pumped in a bunch of gases and said, how well did the plants do at purifying the air? They also did the same test with just pots of dirt, and it turned out the pots of dirt also purified the air. So in order to actually purify the air in anywhere, we'd need more plants than we have room in here. We have so many plants. So people have said, it's stealing your carbon dioxide, or it must be really oxygen. No, really, there's not enough plants for it to make a discernible difference to us. But I'd rather, I like it the way it is. So unfortunately, the science is a little bit questionable on that. Which nutrients are dissolved in the water? Cool. Yeah, we use a master blend recipe that hydroponic growers across the world use, and we have a grow kit linked on our bio that shows you exactly all of the contents in it. You can use organic fertilizers and other things, but those tend to smell a lot. And since this is mine's in my bedroom, we want to keep that smell down. So, yeah. Someone asked, do we make it? Yeah, we engineered this. This is, I don't know what version, before we finally said, yes, we should share this with other people. But simple techniques we've seen from other folks, but we packaged it up into what we think is the cheapest, best option for small spaces. Someone asked, what were you doing taking that out of the pipe?
This one or the last one?
The last one.
So the last one, we think, is mustard, a mustard plant. Which we just grew a kale downstairs and learned that it's very big. So we planted 2 seeds, and only one of them is going to have enough room. So I could have just cut one and left it, but it also has this, they come out and have a little dip, which I think is fine. But I don't particularly care for these rooters after a while. So what I did was I just cut the stem and wrapped a neoprene collar around it, and this will grow roots in a couple of days.
Yeah, so it's really easy to propagate in this. And someone asked what kind of plants do we grow inside. We haven't found a plant that doesn't like the tower, including succulents, which I thought were not going to work, but they totally do. So annuals, perennials, yeah, anything that will fit into these spaces. Some people have asked us, can you grow root vegetables in there? Well, maybe. The YT is only 1.5 inches big, so that's not a very big potato. There are other hydroponic techniques for root vegetables, but if it'll fit in the tower, then yes, it seems, everything we've tried seems to have worked. Someone asked if we saw the hydroponic setup at Epcot when it opened. I've heard that they had something like that, but I haven't personally seen it. The roots look so long, yes, because the roots these are water roots. We've described these. Oop, Danny's hold on. I'll get it closer to the camera. These were from your parsley? No, this is from the
mustard.
This is from the mustard man you just propagated. Ooh, they're really long. So the reason that these are so long is that we kind of describe water roots as the trust fund babies of the root world. They didn't have to work for anything. All the water, all the nutrients was right there. So they just tend to grow and get long. It is totally fine to trim them, and we have done that quite a bit. You can prune them. It's not going to hurt them because the water's right there. They can regrow, and they're totally fine. Though, if you trim off the whole root ball, then it's going to have to start over, like Mandy is just kind of repropagating that one right now. It'll take a little bit to reestablish if you trim the roots that much, but little trims at the end, they don't even notice. Do the roots get tangled? Yeah, they get tangled up in there, but it's really, really simple to just pull them out. And they tend to come out. They get untangled as you gently pull them out of their little spot in the tower. And we haven't had any issues of them being so tangled that we couldn't get something out or anything like that.
Yeah, sometimes if you have like a really long root system here and it goes all the way down here, and then you like pull this one, you'll see some dead root. Like this one has some dead root in it, which could have been from up top, but sometimes when it's lower, you can actually see where its friend was, like in the pipe next to it.
The other thing about this is that in the tower, we've never had root rot. There's so much oxygen and water flowing past it that the rotten stuff just is kind of kept at bay. I've had root rot in my hydroponic plants that I keep in jars of water when I forget to change the water. Whoops, Andrew. But that's because there's not enough oxygen around the roots, and it allows an anaerobic environment where the bacteria just wants to grow. So someone said, is there one in the bathroom? Is that more for garnishes and such? Yeah, we've kind of just segmented out. Now we have 3 separate hydroponic towers that we're doing stuff in. Manny, do you want to talk about what you planted in here on purpose?
Yeah. So now we have, this is almost all food in here now. So we have lettuce leaf, basil, mustard, greens, parsley, garlic chives, sad cilantro, mojito, mint, dill, a succulent, a macaroon tree. I think this is rosemary. We called it thyme the other day. I'm not sure. Maybe you guys can help us identify it. I planted some things I didn't label them. Salad, and then 2 lemon balms, oregano. This is a house plant.
It's a calathea.
A calathea.
Rosa picta. Dottie is the cultivar.
And then this is a tomato. Our first time trying a tomato. It's a cherry tomato, husky cherry tomato plant, which we think will probably be fine, but it will probably take a lot of water. So if you have things, and we might have to train it, but I don't know. It might be fine.
Someone said, if I wanted to start growing hydroponic herbs, what, where, how would you suggest starting? If you want to dive into the whole system, I mean, we got it on Etsy, but if you want to just kind of give it a try, there's the crack key method is really good. That's where you have a little net cup, and it's, how do you spell that one, Mandy? K-R-A-T-K-Y. Kratky. So if you Google Kratky, that is the least expensive, fastest, easiest method to start working. And then we've had really good luck with basil. Basil tends to be pretty easy to propagate. And so if you start off with Kratky and basil, that would be my recommendation for the cheapest, easiest, fastest thing to get started.
Mm-hmm. And don't start with cilantro. Like,
don't start.
I don't know why it's the most annoying. Like, I've tried to grow cilantro 15,000 times. We planted this at the same time as this, at the same time as this thing that I cut that was huge. And it just is, I don't know, sad. But
someone asked about the sound. Yeah, you can definitely hear the water trickling, but it's not, the pump isn't any louder. It's just like a fish tank pump, so you can't really hear too much of that. We do have a decibel test on our feed somewhere, where we showed you what it sounds like in the bucket and then out a little bit further as well. Oh, now the refresh rate started. There we go. My apologies, everyone. All right. Is it weird to grow above a toilet? Well, it's not exactly above a toilet. It is in the shower, but
I figure, like, think about how your regular food is grown. It's fine. I'm not that fussed about it.
We recommend changing the water every 2 weeks. Someone asked that. Who's Mischief and who's Sunshine? I like to say we're Mischief and Sunshine collectively. It's a little bit of both.
I think it's more about what the trouble you can get into with us. Will
this work outside for pest deterring plants? Worried about heating up PVC in Texas C. Yeah, we don't recommend this system outdoors. The UV rays from the sun can wreak havoc on your PVC. These lights do not contain ultraviolet light, so they don't have the same effect on the PVC as the sun. The other problem is that the water outside can get hot, so you have to refrigerate your water essentially, because if it's 100 degrees outside and you just have a bucket of water, your water is going to be 100 degrees and your plants are going to fry. They like it cold, like 60 degrees is what they like. Now, it's not 60 degrees in here. The water is a little warmer, so but it's totally fine. It's not like outside. How much does the setup cost? We have a kit for $269. The link's in the bio in our Etsy, but there are a few other things like the lights you need to buy and some other stuff. We also did a feed, how much does it cost? There's one on the feed for that where we break down, if you were going to source parts and build it just like we did, how much that would cost you, and then another video, what extra stuff do I need, that breaks down all of the extras that you might need, so lights and other things. So we try to make this the cheapest, easiest, best possible. We do also have a DIY kit that you can download that has the full instructions and some links to where we have sourced some of our parts. Everything has to be food safe though, so we've seen folks with like a 5-gallon Home Depot bucket at the bottom, which is okay, but that's not a food safe bucket, so we don't recommend it. That's kind of one of the more difficult things about this system, is we want to make sure that everything is safe for food. Do we ship to the UK? Unfortunately, right now we only are able to ship in the United States, but we would sell you very easily the DIY kit that would have links to all this stuff, and plus you'd be able to find a pump that you could actually plug into your outlets.
Oh yeah, I did not even think of that.
Yeah, we're just a couple of people in the U.S. and have not developed international business yet, but yeah, we have a DIY kit if you're interested. Cool. Whew.
Do people know what this one is?
I'll grab it. Sometimes we plant so many things that it's hard to remember which one is which.
Because I think I'm supposed to cut it and then it'll grow. Like, I think maybe we were supposed to plant, next time we'll plant a whole bunch at once.
Yeah.
So.
Anybody have good ideas what that is? Just starting to get some roots going down out of it.
Thank you.
One of the other things about this too is that if you're like us, you maybe started with some house plants and you've got them, and it's like.
Yeah.
Sorry, someone said rosemary. Sorry, I trailed off.
It smells like rosemary.
Okay, it's rosemary. All right.
Woo.
Call
Okay,
it time.
that makes sense.
What was I even saying, Mandy?
You start with a bunch of houseplants.
Oh yeah, it was difficult to want to cut stuff because everything is beautiful and I don't want to put a scissors to it. But actually, a lot of these plants, the more that you prune them back, the more that they reward you by growing bushier and bigger. So a lot of these are cut and come again, where we'll chop off some and then come back and it's already there. I'm going to do a video about my kale that I propagated this way. I'm ready almost to have a second harvest from a kale, and I planted another one at seeded the second time, and that would make a nice garnish. I think right now the leaves are so tiny. Were either of you on painkillers before starting this? No?
No.
Not sure what that question.
If you're passing them out. Free to share. Just kidding, don't send us anything.
No, don't send us any painkillers. But the first versions of this tower had a lot of different pipes and a lot of different things, and we were just concerned about ruining the apartment too. But this is the one that doesn't leak, and it's in the shower. We also have another. This is the same version that's behind the wall in my bedroom. So we really designed it to fit in a plant killer. Oh, we're gonna do plant killers. Oh, I read that and said painkillers. I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, yeah. You tell me you first.
I think what I say is you got to earn your green thumb through contributions to the compost. So yeah, a lot of stuff didn't work. You know, I've killed plants by overwatering them, underwatering them, forgetting to water them, not looking at them often enough. But this solved a lot of problems for us. And Mandy, I'll let you do a better job of telling that story.
What story?
Well, what the watering and why you like it.
Oh, so yeah, I was definitely a plant killer. I love plants, but I've had like maybe 5 or 6. But I've tried to grow herbs so many times over and over and over, and I don't know, I was never successful. I never had enough light. My cilantro always got like some sort of pest. I never could remember to water them. Just, I guess, all of the same problems that most people have. But I was able to keep a snake plant alive, and what was my other one with the palm, the one that I have in the tower now, the Schefflera.
Yeah.
My Schefflera is very old. It's like 5 or 6 years old. But yeah, being able to take away the variables of remembering to water and the light really helps.
Yeah, so there are a couple of things that take some of that out of your plants might die because you're watering them wrong. Well, as long as there's water and nutrients dissolved in the bucket and the pump is circulating it, then you can't not water them appropriately because the timer does it for you. And the other part about it is the light. So sometimes you've got a plant that maybe wants some more light than you've got, and instead of moving it around to make sure your windows, these lights make sure that the plants have all of the available nutrients that they could need. One of the things that's special though about these lights to say is that they are full spectrum grow lights. So you can grow a lot of houseplants. I've seen people do this where they go to Home Depot and they buy shop lights and they're sort of fine for their houseplants, but they don't work as well on this stuff that we're growing for food consumption. They need more of the full spectrum that comes from the sun. And the reason for that is you see white light, but it's actually a combination of a whole bunch of colors.
Yeah.
I can prove it to you. This is a diffraction grading sheet that actually separates the light into different colors. So you can kind of see here as I move this around the spectrum that's being put off. You can see there's a lot of red toward that end and there's a lot of blue and purple toward that end. So the plants use primarily the red and blue parts of the spectrum. They absorb those, they reflect back the green part. So these lights have more intense light on the blue end and on the red end than in the middle. That's what the plants need. You may have seen purple grow lights. They're a combination of red and blue, the two colors on the end of the spectrum that the plants need because they're reflecting back those greens and yellows. So the full spectrum is really something that we advise, and they're kind of part of the secret sauce to making sure that the plants grow big and pretty. Someone asked if we were shitting. Yeah.
Not right now. I'm pretty much done with my plant maintenance.
Oh, okay.
So.
Cool. Well, as we're just kind of hanging out here, Mandy got done with all of her plant maintenance stuff. Does anybody have any questions or other thoughts for us today? Okay. Well, we got done with our plant stuff, Grace. Yeah, we do eat. We do eat pretty good. I think the one thing I will say really quick here is we're getting ready to end is I love growing stuff that I've never tried before. So we gotten this lettuce leaf basil that we showed you earlier. I've never had this before, and it's delicious. There are a bunch of plants that originate in Japan or another part of the world that we can get seeds for and try them in our tower and really then go looking for recipes that fit the plants. And so we have, I think, looked for some more exciting eating options too, because like, we've got this really cool ingredient. What's the best way we can use it? Someone asked where you can start building one of these. Yeah, if you check out the link in our bio, we've got a DIY kit available on Etsy as well as a parts kit. If you check out our YouTube, we have a bunch of linked resources and playlists that would help you understand hydroponics in general and all that good stuff. So can you grow aloe?
Can you grow aloe? I don't see why not. You would probably want to, I mean, like in most succulent plants, yeah, I can grab it.
Yeah.
You let it heal, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
So if you let it heal off.
This is a succulent. That is not an aloe, and this was taken from a pup, so it's probably completely different. But I wouldn't say you'd want to cut it and stick it right in the tower like you can do with a lot of other plants.
Right. You want to let it heal off. This is I think, I'm pretty sure this is a Haworthia, which is a pretty close cousin to the aloe, which is why I was recommending pull this one out. But yeah, you can see it's got one big old root, and it's going.
I love how you can see through it. It's so pretty. I just can't wait for it to be like a huge crystal thing. And it's getting there.
Roxanne wool. We have used rock wool before in the past. Don't super love it. I mean, they recommend that you use it with gloves because the little shards can get into your fingers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not sustainable.
Not very sustainable either. So what we use are these little rooter plugs.
I don't have any.
Okay,
right now.
we don't have a rooter plug, but the little rooter plugs are essentially.
This one is dry.
Oh, here's a dry one. They look like this. They have a little hole in the top. And this is essentially a dead tree that they've ground up and put with an organic binder. So there's no peat moss involved in this. Some folks were a little bit worried about where we sourced that, but
Well, and I keep calling it a peat moss. Like, if you look at all of our old videos, I
yeah, we did. We both did. But this little organic binder rooter holds kind of the roots together. It gives a really place to start, and so the roots like something to grab onto. If they don't have anything to grab onto, they're kind of a little bit lost.
Yeah, so like we tried with these garlic chives. These don't have anything to grab onto. Basically, I just dump them onto a bamboo mat. And you can see the mat has completely disintegrated, and these will eventually all tangle together and create a mat. But for now, they're actually really delicate because they don't have anything to grab onto. So instead of doing this, we recommend that you cut one of those rooters in half and just have it be about here, and then dump the same amount of seeds that worked here. And we think you could do that with things like oregano and rosemary and some of those other ones that you want to be plentiful right at the beginning, I guess.
Right. Yeah. So if there's room for more than one stem, like basil's got pretty, especially when they're small, they've got pretty small stems, and you want to get it right away. Mm-hmm. You can definitely plant a few seeds. If it's a kale, eventually one of those is gonna overtake it. You're not gonna have enough room on there.
Oh yeah, I wanted to say earlier you said almost everything. Zucchini we said probably not too, but I guess that is just because of size.
Yeah.
Sort of like.
Someone said, do you ever put chemicals in the water for your plant nutrients? Yes, there's a master blend formula. If you check out our Etsy, we have a grow kit that has all the details on what's included in that. It's pretty common hydroponic formula. It's actually branded as the tomato one, but it works for everything from herbs to my monsteras to succulents. It's a good general purpose one. Somebody said, I can't find any hours of light on your YouTube. Yeah, We would say probably minimum is 12 hours on, 12 hours off. That's what I do mine. But Mandy, you get yours for a little bit more, right?
Yeah, I do from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. So 16 on, 8 off on these ones, on this test tower. But it is arbitrary. I mean, that's why we don't have a hard and fast rule for that. But at least 12 hours on, 12 hours off.
And always remember, people sometimes ask, are the lights on 24 hours a day? No, plants do need a period of darkness to complete their life cycle. So if you leave the lights on forever, it'd be like you just staying awake for a week. Eventually, you're not going to make it.
We could do an experiment.
We could. Just how long does it take to fry? Someone asked, can you use regular earth? I'm not sure what you mean by that. If that's a product or if you mean soil, if you could clarify, that would help. Vertical hydroponics are super cool. Yeah, we thought so. In fact, we wanted to buy a tower before we built this one. It was just the ones available would not fit into a studio apartment, and the ones available were outside of our budget. Mm-hmm. And the ones available often had smartphone apps where we had to buy a seedling for $2 to $4, and that kind of defeats the purpose when you can buy 300 seeds for $1.
Right.
So we wanted to make this more DIY and less locked into, I need a seed pod with a chip in order to grow something.
Definitely, yeah.
Soil, oh yeah, no problem. Sometimes people reference products that are called things like regular earth or whatever. Soil, no, not with this design. This is designed to be a completely water-based hydroponic system, so no dirt with this one. Oh, did you know Project Others use hydroponics in camper vans? Whoa.
We'll have to write that down. Can you say it again?
Project Others. We're going to take a look. Thank you for the tip. We did not know that.
Is it helping someone, or is there an I guess I can Google it, but
Yeah.
Thanks for the tip. Yeah. We're starting a series actually where we're talking to other people in sort of this, what do you say, sustainable area of information, and we're starting an interview series with other people. So if you have people like that you would recommend that are doing something cool in this sort of area of sustainable building, or just helping people kind of be more self-sufficient and whatnot, let us know what those are, because we would like to make those connections.
Someone asked if we've had any difficulties with root rot when transitioning from soil to hydro. Two-part answer to that. When I was doing it in the if I just have a jar of water with nutrients in it and I'm putting the plants in it, absolutely, it gets, the old root system essentially has to die off and the new ones, and it stinks. But in the tower, Mandy, you've like rinsed off the roots and stuck them right in there. Have you had any root rot issues?
Yeah, so actually on Saturday, like however many days ago that was, 5 days ago, I went to Lowe's and another local nursery, and I bought a bunch of plants, and that's what I did. I rinsed off their roots and just stuck them in. And the dill up here, this dill, the mint, the lemon balm here, and the tomato are all from on Saturday, and I actually haven't looked at them since then, so we can take a look and see. So I rinsed these off actually on a live and just stuck them in, and I washed them off as good as I can, and I could, and I haven't looked at it since. So this is the dill.
This started its life in dirt.
In dirt, yeah.
No root rot there.
So yeah, you can see these are pretty white, and you can see at the bottom here
where they're growing.
Yeah, the
new white stuff.
Straight part is the new growth. So let's look at one. Let's look at another.
The biggest problems you will have is if you take a giant established plant and try to stick it somewhere. The bigger the plant is, the more difficult the transition is going to be. So,
Let's look at the tomato.
ooh, yeah.
This is the mint.
I think the other encouraging spot about this is all of the plants are standing straight up and are boingy.
Boing. Yeah.
That means, so this is really important. If your plant is limp, why is that? That's because the plants actually use water pressure. Many plants use water pressure to keep their stems straight. So there has to be enough water in the stems in order for them to be straight. So when they droop, that means there's something wrong. The plant's not getting enough water into its stems in order to be able to hold itself up. So if the plant is standing up straight, that's a really good sign that it's getting the water it needs. Here's the biggest plant we have, tomato roots, no root rot, completely healthy and fine.
So I wouldn't, though, recommend, if you're trying to save money, wow, this was really expensive because it was like, $4 to $7 per plant. And so, yeah, when I came home with these 5 and then a 3 for yours too, and so it was like, it was ridiculous. It was a lot of money. But if you have the money to do it, it's a way to have your tower full. And I mean, this has blossoms on it, so I don't know if we'll have tomatoes in
from those early blossoms.
I know, yeah, like maybe we'll have them in a couple weeks. I don't know.
Someone asked what is someone said wish saffron could be done this way. We thought about that too. But my goodness, you have to have so many saffron flowers. Like a lot. We haven't investigated if you can do it that way, but yes, saffron, the real stuff, is so expensive that it would be amazing to be able to do this. It's just you get like 3 little strands from every single flower. It's a tough thing. There's a reason why it's expensive, because it's hard to get. Someone asked what the easiest plant to grow is.
We think probably basil and lettuce are the easiest. They seem the most forgiving, and especially, like, I grew a lot of basil over the summer, and it helped me understand, like, even just how a lot of plants grow, and you can see, what a node is, and you can see when it needs nutrients, like it will get yellow in between its veins, which not a lot of other plants will do that for you. But
do we grow mint? Yes.
We just started growing. I just bought some mint on Saturday. So yeah, hopefully we'll have some mint in our cocktails soon. I don't really like mint, but I don't know if that's maybe just because I've only ever had like artificial flavored mint.
I think that's the other thing to say about this. Those parsleys you did just cut them, so they're looking a little bit. That's why they're drooping, because they just got their roots cut. But they'll come back. The one thing that I would say about the herbs that we've grown in here is, if you've ever gone to the grocery store and bought a whole package of parsley and gone home and tried to cook with it, you know about how it tastes. Mandy cut off like a handful of parsley leaves for something, and there was more flavor in like the 4 leaves that I got than an entire bag of it from the store. So you cannot beat cutting it off the plant and putting it into your mouth. There's so much flavor there that I've been telling Mandy, like, I didn't realize what this plant was supposed to taste like until I put it in my mouth after cutting it off the tower. Well, put it on my tongue.
So yeah, let us know any questions you have for us. This is our hydroponic tower, the Isabel. We answer questions every Thursday at 11:30. So if you end up buying one or have a hydro system at home and you just have questions, we're here every week and can help you. Also, you can take a video of your system and tag us here on TikTok, and we will answer your questions that way. But yeah, we really appreciate all the new followers we've had in the last week.
Yeah, oh my goodness. It's been really fun to hang out with y'all. If the tomatoes start drooping, what's your plan? Actually, I don't think they will.
Yeah.
Normally, if there's going to be a problem, it happens right away. So the fact that it's been several days and it's taking up the water, it means it's transitioned appropriately. So we've never actually had one that completely failed, so I'm not even sure what we would do.
Yeah, actually, my purple passion might be the thing that's failed, like, quote unquote, failed the most, because it just hasn't grown at all since we planted it.
Yeah, purple passion is a houseplant. Someone asked, why in a bathtub? Well, it is a shower, but it's because it's a small space.
Yeah, my apartment is very small. It's 275 square feet. So at the time when we were trying to figure out what kind of, so we were trying to figure out something else, but we basically were trying to understand hydroponics. And my shower is really quite big, and I was thinking, what could I actually do in here? Well, here's a good solution. So since we've had a more specific system, I found other places to put it in my apartment, but...
Cool. Oh, someone clarified, the weight of the tomatoes as they get bigger, yes. So... plants, especially, I had a really, really big shishito pepper plant once, and I had to find ways to support it. So what I did with that one is I just kind of put some strings and I rigged it up so that it would kind of support itself from a couple of other places. But yeah, if you have a plant that vines or gets really big, you've got to kind of think about how to support it. Obviously, lettuce, kale, the other leafy greens, herbs don't need any additional support, but you've done some pretty novel things with peas and other stuff to support them as they grow.
I use some suction cups, which is probably what I will do with this tomato plant. But yeah, we don't have a good support structure solution yet. But I think even you could just use zip ties and zip tie it to the tower itself for something like the tomato, especially the things I have above it aren't huge and wouldn't steal a bunch of light from it until you get up to that lettuce.
And we're really trying to grow as many variable different things as we can just to show you all what's possible. So we're experimenting all the time and have a bunch of stuff in here at the same time. You can make your system more specific. So if you only wanted to do tomatoes, you could figure out a way that you're going to rig them up and put exactly the tomato formula in there. But we've got herbs and all that other stuff, so we're kind of taking it one thing at a time, because we want to show you as many options for how you can use this as possible. And sometimes folks are like, "Have you grown this before?" We're like, "Nope," and then
now we try it.
Now we try it. Yeah, we got some seeds, and
yeah,
we're
like somebody said vanilla bean the other day.
Yeah. Watercress.
Watercress. Oh yeah, I want to try watercress.
All the different kinds of watercress. So we often look for seeds everywhere. So both heirloom seeds online and then at the hardware store or plants to cut up. Basically, we want to make this as accessible and easy to use based on what your preferences are. So we want to show you kind of the general use, but you can always dial in specific needs depending on what your plants have. So if they're really high light loving plants, maybe you keep your lights closer and you leave them on for longer. If they're lower light plants, you put them lower, or you
use half as
many and you run them for less time. So there are lots of ways that you can kind of tweak your system as you learn what your plants might like, and we really experiment. We really encourage people to experiment, but always check it out, because if you've got like a giant plant in there and its root mass is getting huge, it could block the pipe.
Yeah.
Like it's totally possible. So it's always a good idea to check on your stuff to make sure that it's growing like you think it's supposed to be, and the other part of it is, people have often asked, do you get bugs, do you get pests? It is possible for fungus gnats to get into the rooters, although if you control your fungus gnat population in your other plants, you shouldn't have a problem. I think we had one time. I haven't had any in mine.
The positive thing too with that is it's super easy to propagate from what you do have and then just throw whatever the problem is away in that case.
Right, exactly. So the only other pests that we have really to deal with are spider mites, and those are just look at your plant. If you see a couple, rinse it off, and then it should be fine. Physical removal is what we recommend most of the time, and just sometimes you got to rinse it 2 or 3 times, but if you catch them early before they go gangbusters, then it's really pretty easy to control. I haven't had a lot of spider mite issues on mine. I think I lost 1 seedling to a spider mite. I think you lost a couple, but most of the time are pretty pest free, and that helps. What also helps is the fan on them, both for mold and for any other pests. Someone asked, do we let the pump work all the time?
Yeah, the pump is on 24 hours. Well, it's like physically plugged in 24 hours, and it's connected to a timer, a mechanical timer that has to go on every 15 minutes and off every 15 minutes. So that allows the roots to take up as much oxygen as they want in the off time and as much water as they want in the on time.
Someone asked, does lavender and rosemary wilt during the winter? Well, one of the interesting things is because it's 70 degrees in here and it's sunny, the plant doesn't know what time of year it is. We think. At least with no other stimulus. So the if you start a seed, it doesn't really matter what month or what the conditions are outside. When Nebraska, where we're at, was facing negative 29 degree weather, it was decent in my apartment, and my plants just kept growing. So no, they don't have the kind of seasonal issues that you do in soil, because it just is kind of endless summer inside your house. Cool. Well, thanks everybody for hanging out with us today. We're always back here at 11:30 on Thursdays. If you have questions, if you bought a tower and want to talk to us, if you tag us in a video, we'll also respond. So hang out with us, and we will see you back, I guess, next week.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.